Welcome back to the deep dive. It is really good to have you here with us.
Good to be here.
Today, we are going to tackle a topic that feels particularly relevant, maybe even a little stingingly relevant, depending on when you're listening.
Yes. The great gap between our ambitions and our actions.
Exactly. The eternal struggle. We're looking at why we fail at self-improvement. And I want to start with a statistic from the source material that, honestly, it made me wince a little bit.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
The research around New Year's resolutions, it shows that 80% of resolutions fail by the second week of February.
80%. It's brutal. It really is.
It's a massacre.
Yeah.
And if you're part of that 80%, which, let's be honest, statistically, most of us have been there, the default assumption is usually pretty harsh.
Oh, yeah.
We tell ourselves, I'm weak, I'm lazy, I just don't have enough willpower. We internalize it.
Right. We treat it as a moral failing. We look in the mirror and think, if I was just a better person, a stronger person, I'd be at the gym right now.
We see discipline as this character trait that we just lack.
Mm-hmm.
But the source material we have today, some key excerpts from the Habit Loop, and a transcript from the TalkSmarterToday program, it flips that narrative completely upside down.
It does. The core argument here is that failure isn't about your character. It's about mechanics.
Which is such a relief to hear.
It is. If you are relying on willpower to change your life, you are basically bringing a knife to a gunfight. The research suggests that the people who look like they have tons of discipline, they aren't actually exercising more willpower than you are.
They're not superhuman.
Not at all. They've just built better systems.
I love that distinction. So the mission for this deep dive is to, dismantle that reliance on just trying harder and figure out how to actually build those systems.
We're going to look at the biology of why we do what we do, why we doom scroll, why we eat the chips, and then break down 3 very specific tactical ways to hack that biology.
Okay, so let's start with the why. In that Talk Smarter Today transcript, we meet a few people. There's Dr. Aris, a psychologist, Emily, the strategist, and then there's a guy named Tom.
Tom. Tom is all of us.
He really is. He's the guy who admits, yeah, I promised to go to the gym 3 times a week, and by October, I'd gone twice. We have all been Tom.
We have. But Dr. Aris uses Tom's failure to illustrate a crucial point about motivation.
Right. He says most people miss this.
Dr. Aris calls motivation a fair-weather friend.
Yeah.
And biologically, he is spot on. We think of motivation as this fuel source that should just always be there for us.
But it's not.
It's an emotion. It's a surge of dopamine and adrenaline that says, let's do this. But like any emotion, anger, joy, whatever, it's transient. It's designed to be temporary.
I loved the analogy that you can't build a house that only stands up when it's sunny.
Exactly.
Because eventually it's going to rain. You're going to be tired, or your boss is going to yell at you, or it's just going to be cold outside.
And that is when motivation just evaporates.
Yeah.
It's simple biology. Your brain prioritizes survival and comfort over self-improvement when you're stressed.
So if your strategy for going to the gym relies on you feeling like going?
You've already lost. You need a system that operates, especially when you don't feel like it.
Okay, so let's get into the mechanics of that system. This is about neurology. The source material breaks down what it calls the anatomy of a habit.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out pretty much everything we do, from brushing our teeth to checking Instagram, follows the exact same 4-step loop.
This is Dr. Aris's model, and it's really the foundation of modern behavioral science. Once you see this loop, you start seeing it everywhere. It's 4 parts: cue, craving, response, and reward.
Let's walk through this because I think understanding the biology helps depersonalize the failure. It's just code running in your brain. So step 1, the cue.
The cue is the trigger. It's the little bit of information that predicts a reward. In the source, they use your phone as an example. You're sitting there trying to work and you see your phone on the table.
Just the sight of it.
That visual input, that is the cue.
Okay, so the phone is just sitting there. I haven't touched it yet, but my brain registers it. What happens next?
That triggers step 2, the craving. And this part is often misunderstood. You aren't craving the phone itself.
Right. You're craving what's on the phone.
You're craving the change in state that the phone provides. Your brain says, I see the phone. I bet if I check it, I'll see a message or a like, and I'll feel important or connected or just entertained.
So the craving is the motivational force. It's that itch.
It's the spike in dopamine that occurs before you even do the thing.
Whoa. Okay, that's fascinating. The dopamine hits before the action.
Exactly. It's the anticipation.
Yeah.
And that anticipation leads directly to step 3, the response.
Which is the actual habit.
Yes. You pick up the phone, you unlock it, you open Instagram. This is the action you take. to satisfy that craving.
And finally, step 4, the payoff.
The reward. You see the red notification badge, you get that little hit of relief or stimulation, and this is critical. That reward does two things. One, it satisfies the craving right now, but two, and more importantly, it teaches your brain.
It says, do this again.
Hey, that was worth it. Next time you see the phone, run this program again.
It's a self-reinforcing feedback loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. And this works just as well, or maybe even better, for bad habits.
Right. Let's go back to Tom. His cue is feeling bored or feeling stressed.
Which is a huge trigger. We don't think of emotions as cues, but they absolutely are.
They're the biggest ones.
Let's see it.
Tom feels bored. His craving is I want stimulation or I want comfort. His response is
Eat a bag of chips.
Yep. And the reward is the salty taste and the momentary distraction. Loop closed, habit reinforced.
And the big insight here is that most of us try to intervene only at step 3, at the response. We stand in front of the pantry and say, I will not eat the chips.
Which is exhausting. You're fighting the cue, the craving, and the anticipated reward with nothing but willpower. It is a war of attrition, and your brain is going to win.
So we have to hack the loop. We can't just scream at the response. The source gives us 3 specific techniques for this.
Correct. We have habit stacking, environment design, and identity shifting.
Let's start with habit stacking. This comes from Emily, the strategist, in the transcript. I found this fascinating because it basically leverages your existing habits.
That is a great way to put it. Scientifically, this is about your neural pathways. Your brain has these super highways of connections for things you do every day. Brushing your teeth, brewing coffee.
They're automatic. I don't even have to think about them.
Exactly. Habit stacking says, weld your new weak habit onto one of those strong existing ones. Use the momentum of the old habit to pull the new one along for the ride.
So instead of a vague goal like, I'm going to meditate more, which I have probably said 5 years in a row.
And did you?
I absolutely did not. It lasted maybe 3 days.
Right, because I will meditate more is not a plan. With habit stacking, you create a very specific formula.
The formula is, after I current habit, I will new habit.
Simple, but so effective. The example they use is coffee, which is perfect for me. My morning coffee is non-negotiable.
Same here. So how does the stack look?
The stack becomes, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds.
Okay, hold on. 60 seconds? That seems almost too small to matter. And why is pouring the coffee so important? Why not just in the morning?
Great questions. First, in the morning is a SOG. It leaves way too much room for negotiation. You have to make a decision. Do I do it now? No, I'll check email first.
Decision fatigue, we're back to burning that fuel.
Exactly. By saying, after I pour the coffee, you remove the decision. Pouring the coffee is the trigger. It initiates the program. You just flow from one action to the next.
It's like a chain reaction. You don't decide to put on your left shoe after your right sock. You just do it.
Yes. And as for the 60 seconds, you have to make it so easy that you can't say no. You're not trying to become a meditation master on day 1. You're just establishing the routine.
Establish the routine before you worry about the intensity. I like that. But this leads us to the second technique, because what if your environment is fighting you? Environment design.
This is where Dr. Aris brings in a concept from physics. Friction.
I love this. It makes me feel like my laziness is just a law of nature.
In a way, it is. Friction is the resistance you encounter. In behavior design, high friction means something is hard to do. Low friction means it's easy.
So the strategy is basically manipulate the friction.
Exactly. You want to increase friction for bad habits and decrease friction for good habits. It sounds simple, but the impact is profound because we are all fundamentally designed to follow the path of least resistance.
Let's use the chips example again. If the chips are sitting on the counter right next to my laptop.
Friction is near zero. The cost of eating them is just reaching out your hand. Your willpower has to be massive to overcome that.
But if I decide, okay, no more chips in the house. Now, if I want chips, I have to get in my car, drive to the store.
The friction is incredibly high. You have to find your keys, put on shoes. The craving usually isn't strong enough to pay that friction tax. You'll just eat the apple that's right there.
So environment design is about being proactive. It's about removing obstacles for the good stuff and adding obstacles for the bad stuff.
It's defensive driving for your life. Think about the gym example. If you want to work out, but your clothes are in the laundry and your shoes are in the closet.
Too much friction for 6 a.m. I am going back to sleep.
Right. But if you lay out your clothes, shoes, and water bottle right next to your bed the night before, you've greased the slide. You have made the good choice the lazy choice.
Make the good choice the easy choice. That's the mantra.
You're acting as the architect of your own choices. You assume your future self will be tired and lazy, and you plan for that.
Okay, so we have habit stacking for the trigger and environment design for the friction. But the source material goes deeper, and this is the part that really clicked for me. It's not just about what you do.
It's about who you think you are.
Right.
This is the concept of identity-based habits. And frankly, this is the most powerful shift. Dr. Aris argues that real long-term change has to penetrate the level of identity.
Can you break down that distinction, outcome versus identity?
Sure, an outcome is a goal. I want to run a marathon. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to write a novel.
Okay, those seem like normal goals.
They are. But contrast that with an identity. An identity is a belief about yourself. I am a runner. I am a healthy eater. I am a writer.
It feels a little bit like a semantic trick, though. Does just changing the words really change the behavior?
It's not just the words. It's about cognitive consistency. The brain hates it when our actions don't match our self-image. If you believe, I am a smoker who's trying to quit, your identity is still smoker.
Right, so every time you say no to a cigarette, you're fighting against yourself. You're denying your nature.
Exactly. But if you shift the identity to, I am a non-smoker, then turning down a cigarette isn't a struggle. It's just what you do.
Yeah.
Non-smokers don't smoke. There's no internal conflict.
In the transcript, Tom tries this. He starts telling people, I am a healthy eater, even though he had had pizza the night before.
Which the host, Sarah, calls fake it till you make it. And there is real science to that. It's behavior-driving belief. Every time you choose a salad over a burger, you're casting a vote for that new identity. You're proving to yourself, hey, maybe I really am a healthy eater.
That's the key, I think. We usually think we need the evidence before we can claim the title. Like, I can't call myself a writer until I have a published book.
Right. But this research says to invert that. Start calling yourself a writer now. And then ask, what does a writer do?
They write.
They write every day. So you're right. The habit flows from the identity, not the other way around. It changes the internal monologue from, I have to do this, to this is who I am.
That is where the staying power comes from.
Absolutely.
This is really empowering because it gives us a complete toolkit.
Yeah.
We don't have to just hope we wake up with more discipline tomorrow.
No, we have a system.
Let's recap that system before we wrap up, just so everyone can walk away and actually do this.
Sure. So, step 1, stop blaming your character. Recognize the habit loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. Look at the cue that triggers you.
Step 2, habit stacking. Don't create new time. Anchor your new habit to an old one. After I eat coffee, I will meditate.
Step 3, environment design. Be the architect. Increase friction for the bad stuff. Hide the chips. Decrease friction for the good stuff. Set out the running shoes.
And finally, the deep work, identity shift. Stop focusing only on the goal and start focusing on the person who can achieve it. I am a runner, not just I want to run.
That's the toolkit.
Yeah.
Simple, but it does take attention.
Now, before we let you go to start rearranging your kitchen, which I am definitely doing after this, I want to leave you with one last thought that really struck me from the notes on identity. We talk a lot about positive identity, saying, I am a runner.
Yes, but this sword cuts both ways. And this is the danger.
What do you mean?
Think about the identities you reinforce every day without noticing. How often do you say, oh, I'm just not a morning person? Or, I'm terrible with names.
Oh, wow. I do this constantly. I'm bad at math. I'm just a messy person.
I'm always late. If saying I am a runner helps you run, what are you doing to your brain when you repeat, I am not a morning person? You are essentially faking it until you make it in the wrong direction.
You're casting votes for an identity that limits you.
You're giving yourself permission to fail because that's just who I am.
That is actually kind of terrifying. It means our casual self-deprecation is actually coding our behavior.
It is. Your identity is just a story you tell yourself. The research suggests you might want to start editing that draft.
That is a massive opportunity.
Absolutely. Catch yourself the next time you say, I am, and just make sure the word that follows is who you want to be, not just who you've been.
A huge thank you to the researchers behind this work. This has certainly changed how I'm going to look at my phone and my coffee pot tomorrow morning.
Same here. I'm going to go hide some snacks.
Good plan. And thank you for listening to this deep dive. Go design your environment, stack a habit, and edit your story. We'll see you next time.